Hello, good evening and welcome to our last bulletin for the day. This is News at 10. We're broadcasting live from the News Hub at Adisawe Kanda in Accra and streaming on our Facebook page and on 3news.com. TV3 is also live on your DSTV channel 279. Let's start with the major news highlights of the day. President Akufo-Addo has urged the new patriotic party's elected national executives and all those in leadership positions to be selfless in service. At a Thanksgiving service at the International Central Gospel Church in Koforidua, he noted that selfless service was critical for progress and the welfare of citizens. Undefeated aspiring national chairman of the governing New Patriotic Party, Stephen Ntim, says his loyalty to the party has not waned despite his recent loss. Mr. Ntim has now lost out to the chairman of the NPP for the fourth consecutive time. The Ashanti Regional Chairman of the National Peace Council, Professor Stephen Opuni Esiama, has suggested that the mining sector be included in the work of the Public Interest and Accountability Committee, PIAC. At a forum in Kumasi, he underscored the need for proper monitoring and use of funds in the sector. On the international front, Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has begun a visit to Eritrea after the two countries agreed to end a two-decade-old border dispute. It was welcomed in the Eritrean capital Asmara by President Isaias Afwerki. The trip follows a visit to Addis Ababa by the Eritrean delegation. And a Brazilian judge has overturned an order for the immediate release of ex-president Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, better known as Lula. Judge João Pedro Gebran Neto rejected the decision taken by the judge on call on Sunday. Welcome back. Now, President Akufo-Addo has urged the new patriotic party's elected national executives and all those in leadership positions to be selfless in service. At a Thanksgiving service at the International Central Gospel Church, ICGC, in Koforidua, he noted that selfless service was critical for progress and the welfare of citizens.
Their presence was to offer gratitude to God for a successful National Delegates Conference. Head pastor at Jesus Temple of the International Central Gospel Church in Koforidua, Reverend Dixon Tufuo Sapong, admonished leaders on their role as stewards, charging politicians to sacrifice for the nation.
MPs are stewards, teachers are stewards, doctors are stewards. Our success in life will be measured by our stewardship. How well we took care of what was entrusted into our care. And every human being is called to play the role of a steward.
President Akufo-Addo charged his party new executives and all those in leadership positions to see themselves as servants of the people and work towards their welfare.
We see ourselves as the servants of the people of Ghana. That is why we are being called to leadership. We're not there for ourselves. We're there for the progress and the welfare of the Ghanaian people. That's why we are here.
Special prayers were said for them.
In your reign, it shall be said that you did well. it shall be said that you exceeded your target. The Lord protect you and bless you and cause his face to shine upon you.
It is unfortunate that I have failed once again in my bid to serve the party as national chairman, but I remain loyal. Those were the words of a man who has lost the contest for national chairman of the New Patriotic Party for the 4th consecutive time.
Freddie Blay secured 3,021 votes against Stephen Intim's 2,515 votes at Saturday's National Delegates Conference in Koforidua. Political scientist Dr. Richard Amakoba polled 18 votes. Stephen Intim has ended up giving concession speeches at every National Delegates Conference to elect national officers since 2005. In 2005, he lost to Peter McMenu by 76 votes. In 2010, he lost to the late Jake Obechebi Lamte by 226 votes. He went again for the same position in 2014, slugging it out with Paul Afoko, who beat him by 562 votes. There could not have been a better chance for him after Freddie Blay had served as acting chairman following Paul Afoko's suspension. He still lost to Freddie Blay by 506 votes. Stephen Intim has once again lost what appears to be his life ambition to become NPP national chairman. Will he give up or try again in 2022? Only time will tell.
Meanwhile, a governance expert and lecturer at the University of Cape Coast, Kweja Emisa Abraham, says the party delegates rewarded loyalty for continuity. He spoke with my colleague Abu Esamoni on News 360 earlier.
The party has done well. They have organized it very well. They have really also held the elections very well. And I say that congratulations to them.
Right. So what is your general impression about Stephen Intim? He has now lost the chairmanship bid for the 4th time. Do you think he should give up?
Well, this is politics. In politics, you never give up. If you are going to stand up for one of the options, you may lose. So I think that Stephen Intim is a fine gentleman. Losing the elections has not in any way waned his faith in the party. And so I think he should prepare and come back the next time. But definitely, I did not see Mr. Intim winning these elections. I saw continuity coming. In politics, one of the questions that you ask in times of this, in this period is that, do you change a winning team?
And a representative of the UK Conservative Party, John Hayward, has criticised the NPP for the huge sums of money aspirants spent on posters and banners to market themselves in the lead-up to the party's National Delegates Conference. In his solidarity message at the conference on Saturday, John Hayward said he saw more party posters than delegates taking part in the conference.
I came through the streets today and I saw so many posters of the wonderful candidates here in today's conference. But I had to reflect. I think I saw more posters than there are delegates here in the conference. And I wondered, is this really the best use of our resources? I have a lesson from the Conservative Party, which is voters like parties which focus on the voters. Voters are less keen on parties that focus on their internal processes. This is an important lesson the Conservative Party has had to relearn many times over the decades, and I hope that you can benefit from my experience as I encourage you to go forth from here today and focus your time, your efforts and your resources on reaching out to the voters of Ghana, to reaching out and engaging with your communities in each of your regions, to listening to their concerns and ensuring that their concerns are represented in your hopes for prosperity and development in freedom for Ghana.
You're still watching News at 10. We're live from the News Hub at Adisawe Kandawe. More news coming up shortly. Welcome back. Now, the coordinator of the Togolese Diaspora Association, Pierre Boda, has called on the government and the people of Ghana to be sensitive to the troubles of the Togolese people, adding that the effects of any violence in Togo will spill over into Ghana. In an interview with Natalie Ford, Pierre Boda said the involvement of the Togolese diaspora can pressurize an end to the 50-year rule of the Nyasingbe family.
Togo has been ruled by a father-son duo for 50 years. Nyasingbe Eyadema seized power in a military coup in 1967. He remained president until his death in 2005, after which the army proclaimed his son's successor. Faure Nyasingbe has been head of state ever since. Opposition parties in Togo say the people are in need of democratic change and inclusive government growth. 2 million Togolese live abroad, and remittances they transfer home to Togo make up almost 10% of the country's GDP.
Comprised some nurses, doctors, engineers, financiers, the whole talented people, youth that is willing to come back to Togo and to help the country improve.
This represents the growing influence of the diaspora in affairs within Togo.
We have been working on in a very fragmented manner, and with the creation of the coalition of the Togolese diaspora for change, we have more might, we have more impact, and now we think we need to go outside and put more pressure, international pressure, again with the domestic pressure the populations that are taking on the street are putting on the government.
Coordinator of the Togolese Diaspora Association, Pierre Boda, called for more international pressure to complement domestic pressure to ensure the government returns to the 1992 constitution.
What's the level of engagement that you would expect from the Ghanaian community?
We want them to go further and to tell the truth to President Ford that really the population is completely frustrated. The mistrust between the population and the government, so they have to move forward and tell the truth.
Opposition parties in Togo began anti-government protest to demand an end to the 50-year rule of the Nyasingbe Eyadema family in the year 2017.
The Ashanti Regional Chairman of the National Peace Council, Professor Stephen Opunie-Siama, has suggested that the mining sector be included in the work of the Public Interest and Accountability Committee, PIAC. At a forum in Kumasi, he underscored the need for proper monitoring and use of funds in the sector.
The public engagement was to sensitize participants on how Ghana's petroleum revenue has been managed over the past 7 years. The Public Interest and Accountability Committee, PIAC, revealed that the country has raked in over $4 billion from oil revenue since its production started in 2011. In 2017, $555.3 million was generated from the petroleum sector, of which 202 million cedis was spent on the free SHS, out of which the 332 million Ghana cedis utilized from the annual budget funding account, APFA. 403 million cedis out of the 736 million cedis allocated for the APFA was used as at the end of 2017. This, according to PIAC, suggests budget non-compliance on the part of the Finance Ministry. The committee wants Parliament to take steps to ensure that the minister does not overspend the approved budget. The Ashanti Regional Chairman of the National Peace Council, Professor Seth Opuni Esiama, commended PIAC for its work, advocated that the mining sector should be included in its work.
Who tells me how much we are getting in mining? We don't know. Everybody says, oh, Minerals Commission, Minerals Commission. Who is holding Minerals Commission to account to ensure that Minerals Commission itself will tell us how much money they themselves are getting out of mining? Go to all our mining towns. Go to Bibiani. Go to Konongo. Go to Takwa. Go to Obuasi. And what is there to show that for all these years we've mined gold in these towns? Because nobody is watching over it for us. But the people of this country deserve to know how much is happening.
PIAC is urging government to initiate steps to delineate Ghana's maritime border with Togo in respect of the East Keta ultra-deep block.
The district chief executive of Elembele, Kwesi Bonzo, says district assemblies in the western region are yet to directly benefit from the oil and gas industry. He said the people have a high expectation to see some benefits from the oil and gas industry, but these are yet to manifest.
The district chief executive for Elembele, Kwesi Bonzo, was speaking at an annual community relations workshop. The program was organized by the Petroleum Commission for Metropolitan, Municipal and District Chief Executives in the 6 coastal districts of the Western region. Kwesi Bonzo proposed that oil and gas companies operating offshore be made to pay permit fees to the district assemblies, especially those on the 6 coastal districts of the Western region, to help augment their internally generated funds.
Most of them are operating offshore and they are not paying anything to the assemblies as an operating permit. In fact, those onshore, the few onshore are the ones who are paying. So we think that the relevant laws must be applied, and then all the companies operating offshore should be able to pay some money to the assembly. That goes directly to the assembly to help us run our activities and our projects and programs, also as a way of mitigating the social cost of oil production in the various districts.
Meanwhile, the acting chief executive officer of the Petroleum Commission, Egbe Fable, has condemned the behavior of some fishermen who defy restriction orders and fish around exclusive zones.
It is the lights around the FPSOs attract fishermen, or attract fishes, I should say. And then these fishermen, some of them, find themselves going towards the FPSOs to fish because they see that if the fishes aggregate or congregate, beneath the FPSOs, it can have some negative impacts by way of an explosion. A lot of work has been done and is being done, towards education, but we want to do it on a sustainable basis to interface with communities that are impacted by oil and gas activities.
The Metropolitan Chief Executive for Sekondi Takoradi, Anthony Keke Sam, admitted that the oil find has brought some challenges to the Sekondi Takoradi metropolis. He said this includes child prostitution, an increase in population. He noted some benefits have also been realized.
Fight for accommodation was very high. People were looking for accommodation here and there for them to work in the industry. So some people have to eject people from their houses and the rest. Some houses have to be turned into store and the rest. And it resulted to people facing problems with accommodation. So the moment that thing came in, prostitution will also find its ugly head.
The workshop was under the theme Managing Community Expectations of the Oil and Gas Industry.
Academics are worried over the slow pace in the implementation of Open Universities policy. They contend these educational opportunities are excellent and can improve the country's human capacity building and competencies.
The Open University system is an all-inclusive, excellent academic system practiced in most countries across the globe. The system offers the opportunity to everyone to attain higher learning qualification without requirements.
The people who have no access to education will have access to education. We have those who are migrant farmers, herdsmen. We have the fishermen. We have people in prison. It is this mode of educational delivery that will bring them up.
Advocates outline the benefits in structure and operations of the academic system.
Students who come from senior high school, the traditional university system cannot absorb all of them. So for that matter, the openness aspect or the distant learning component will bring them on board where they will have access to education.
The open distance education is one avenue that can help us to reduce the human resource waste
that we tend to experience amongst the junior secondary school and senior secondary school.
In Africa, former President Obasanjo of Nigeria, Nelson Mandela of South Africa are beneficiaries of long-distance educational programs. However, the system is yet to find its feet in Africa. In Ghana, though past governments embraced the open distance learning system, protocols, guidelines, policies and the infrastructure to make them successful are yet to be established.
When done well, provides very good and reliable quality that sometimes the traditional systems cannot provide.
We are appealing to government to give access to education. All those national accreditation boards should key into the gospel of open and distance learning.
Advocates for long-distance education at a meeting in Accra said they want government to embrace the open university system and speed up processes for academic excellence and quality human resource.
And elsewhere, Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has begun a visit to Eritrea days after the two countries agreed to end a two-decade-old border dispute. He was welcomed in the Ethiopian capital Asmara by President Isaias Afwerki. The trip follows a visit to Addis Ababa by the Eritrean delegation.
Abiy, who took office in April, has accepted a ruling awarding disputed territory to Eritrea. Eritrea won independence from Ethiopia in 1993 after a lengthy conflict. But within 5 years, the neighbors were fighting over remote border areas, including the town of Badme. Tens of thousands of people were killed in 2 years of fighting. The land was awarded to Eritrea by a 2002 Border Commission ruling, but Ethiopia refused to accept it and retained its troops there. The two sides have remained a war footing since then.
That's how we wrap up with News at 10. Thanks very much for staying with us. On behalf of the crew here, good night. There is more news at 3news.com.